I really should get another desk mat. This thing is gross. Hi, I'm Bob. You might remember me from such things as this video. I just came back from a big old holiday, and in spite of barely being sentient during the month of June, I somehow managed to still collect a few items. The first one is this baby. The Quickshot QS129F. If you've watched any kind of gaming YouTube over the last 15 years, this might look familiar to you. I saw this for sale for really cheap and I couldn't resist. I don't usually collect non-PC controllers. PC controllers is kind of where I'm limiting myself to at the moment. But this is just a classic. Usually what you see online is the NES version, but this one is for the Sega Atari MSX Commodore Amstrad console. Let's take a look at the box real quick. Space Age design. I would agree with that. Compatible with all those things I just mentioned. 2 positive response fire buttons. Now that's marketing. A high-speed auto-fire capability. 8-direction thumb control pad, as if that's a feature. Revolutionary new fight grip for maximum freedom. Oh, good. Good. I've been looking for maximum freedom, so that helps. 4-position operating mode selector and a cable. And then this is, I think I got this from France, so there's like a little sticker over the diagram in the French language, but the rest is in English. But yeah, this is just a 2-button controller with turbo, or auto fire rather, in the shape of like a weird handlebar. Now, I'll be fair, this is made for a child's hands, because this is really cramped for a grown-ass adult's hand. But it's an interesting concept, you know? Back then, nobody really knew what they were doing, did they? Nobody really knew. Everything feels really mushy, and this is a display piece. You know, that's what this is. And I kind of love it. Oh, here, see, this is the toggle switch for whichever console. See, I have an Atari. I have the 8-bit computers that this would work with. So I could potentially use this. This is not just for shits and giggles. About half a year ago on Blue Sky, I was kind of publicly searching for weird controllers on Vinted and eBay and that kind of stuff. And I came across, you know, controllers with toggle switches for turbo or auto fire or whatever for each button. And I was curious which was the gamepad that had the most of these. And I found three contenders for the top spot, or rather 3 controllers from 3 different brands, from Hori, I think, Cytec, and this next one that took up the top spot. This is the Innovation Color Joypad for PlayStation with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 toggle switches. I have not found a controller, a gamepad, anything with 10. Probably because there's a limit to how many buttons there are on the controller. Now, this cost me like €4. It's boxed. It has a little bit of a tear in the plastic here, but otherwise it's in pretty good condition. I don't think it's been opened. Look, it still has the little tie loop there. But let's take a look at the box real quick. It's the new color series, even though this one is black. But they do come, or they did come, in lots of different colors and non-colors. Clear, that's pretty nice. Features, 6-foot cable. New 8-fire button design. 8-fire button design. Whatever, there's an R2 button behind. Take a look at that. There's a slow motion button. If you don't know, slow motion on these kinds of controllers, what they would do is they would press start real quick. They would just go start, 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 so that the game would pause and unpause, and that would be slow motion. Yeah, and again, 8-way directional control pad. Amazing. And a hand grip designed for 100% comfortable for long-lasting gameplay. Ying. It's great English. Also, for sale in USA and Canada only. So I'm being nice and illegal. So yeah, I think I might be the first person ever to unbox this particular copy. So let's do that and be careful and not break anything. Don't know if there's a manual or anything. There's the handle. No, I don't see a manual of any type. That's fine. So how does it feel in the hand? This is remarkably uncomfortable. It is. It is. Like, I'm not a fan of the DualShock design. I don't think that is comfortable. These thin little handles, these angles, this was not designed. Whoever designed this just basically drew up the shape and then made it. They never tested it to see how it would fit in human hands, even for a child's hands, I think. These buttons are real mushy. They're different sizes. Don't really know why. There you go. Toggle switches. Also, here's another one of those things, right? Okay, so this is called Color Joypad by Innovation. Color Joypad for PlayStation Innovation. Commander Super Joypad for PlayStation. And on the back it just says made in China. So I'm wondering, I've only seen this branded like this by Innovation, but I wonder if this is a more generic thing that they just brought to the West or whatever. But that's that. I'm almost certainly never going to play anything on this because it's kind of grotesque. I got one game this month. It's Ready Steady Cook the game. This was recommended, I suppose, to me by community member Hentai Garfield. Yes, that is her legal name. It's apparently based on a British cooking TV show that I am completely unfamiliar with, but I love it because of the amazing box art featuring a green pepper and a tomato. It looks like total crap, you know, but how could I resist? How could I resist, especially when I got it from the same person that I got the previous controller from, and it was cheap. Will I ever play this on stream? I suppose at some point I gotta break out the Wii and really do some waggling. Maybe then. So a little story. Before we left, we went to go look for some souvenirs for my mom's fridge and some gifts for my little nieces at this little, like, I guess you would call it a consignment store. It's a place where people can basically rent shelf space and sell stuff on them. And you have anything from people who sell their crafts to people selling secondhand crap, right? I've gotten a lot of good stuff there. I got my nieces some little handmade bee plushies, which were quite adorable and they really enjoyed, which was really nice to see. And another thing I saw there was something that really appealed to me. And I thought, right now, I need this budget for the vacation itself. I don't want to spend any extra money. It probably won't be there again by the time I'm back. And then I went back, and they had it still. The Nintendo Entertainment System with one controller and cables and power supply and whatever. This was a pretty big deal to me because this was my first console. This was me and my brother. We slept in the same room. We had bunk beds. We had a little TV. And we had a little Nintendo Entertainment System on there. And my earliest memories are of watching him play Mario and World Cup soccer and all that stuff. And to just come across one in town in what is quite fantastic condition also. It's a little yellowed here on the front, but other than that, and there's a little bit of a sticker residue here. But other than that, there's like almost not a scratch on it. Only problem is I don't actually have any games for it yet. Feel free to recommend. But yeah, kind of a dream come true to have one of these again. You know, like part of this collecting stuff obviously is trying to recapture some childhood feelings, and it doesn't get much better than this. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes out for some relatively cheap NES games. Maybe open up this baby, mod it, remove or disable the lockout chip, and add RGB video and whatever. Get another controller. Nintendo. As always, thank you so much for supporting me, for believing in what I do. Like, I thought I would have nothing for this month because of the vacation, and somehow this stuff still kind of attracts itself to me, or I encounter it and I cannot resist. So who knows? Who knows what you'll see on this disgusting desk mat next month?